he asked as he stared at the infant, lying in its crib with curious eyes. His mother smiled at him, her hand gently brushing the baby's soft hair. This is your little sister, Angelica. Really? She's so tiny. He exclaimed, his eyes wide in disbelief and surprise. You were also like once, you know. She commented to the boy, who was now poking the little baby cheeks. She's so soft. He commented, rubbing the baby's cheeks. Aaron, stop that. Your sister is still fragile, it's unhealthy to touch her cheeks like that. She admonished, slapping his hand away. Aaron only pouted in response. I love you. This is how you wash a horse. You need to make sure it's tied up properly. You don't want it running around. Tie the knots firmly, but try not to hurt it, you also don't want it to lash out. He emphasized the point by pulling the knot. He stared at the horse for a second before focusing to the knot. After a moment he nodded in understanding. Yes. Good, let's start cleaning. Be sure to use this brush for its mane, not the other one. Then you dash, I love you, #Ron, go take your sister to school. Mom's busy and your father is meeting a client. Go ahead and use the car, #. He read the message on his phone with a twitching eye. He had planned to meet up with some friends at a cafe, but it seems like he'll be late now. If he makes it at all, that is. He can hardly leave his little sister alone at home, after all. His parents would give him hell if he left her here. Then again, he did adore her, so he supposed it was fine. Still, he really hoped to spend some time with his friends. Maybe he should invite them over. I love you. She was beautiful. Without a doubt, he had seen many beautiful women, both in this world and his own. But the woman standing in front of him. Her beauty seemed natural, alluringly so. But not inhumane. He found those kind of people strange, untouchable. No, what was standing in front of him right now was. She reached out to him, a gentle smile on her face. He found himself too enraptured to move even a single muscle. He realized his mistake only when she did finally touch him. Cold, like ice. While her tender hand had all the soft and supple qualities he expected, it was as if the frozen north winds themselves had shaped it. I love you. He found himself unable to move, frozen, as the words once again escaped her lips. As she lovingly took him into her arms, holding him like a young wife would her husband. He felt like he was being embraced by death itself. I love you. As she touched her lips to his, he felt himself fade away. Slowly dying, piece by piece. She deepened the kiss, her tongue like some kind of soft metal that shoved down his throat rather than muscle and flesh. There was no pleasure in her actions. It felt lifeless and hollow. An icy fear grips his heart whenever he catches a glimpse of her angelic face. She slowly drew back, tenderly cupping his cheeks in her hands. Her eyes shone with affection, so pure it was almost blinding. She smiled radiantly, openly for all the world to see her love. To him, it only seemed deranged. I-love-you. To say Rem was surprised would be an understatement. She already suspected Aaron-sama would still be asleep. After the emotional roller coaster he went off the last evening, she would have been more surprised to see him awake like usually. What did surprise was the way the man slept. The bed was a mess. The blankets were scattered on the floor, the pillow was cast aside and the man himself was splayed indecently across the mattress. His clothes were in disarray, revealing his slender, muscled chest. The blue-haired maid could see the smallest edge of his teeth poking out behind thin lips, his nose flaring with every breath he took. All in all, what was laid out in front of her was the very opposite of the normally regal, handsome man she knew. Rem gathered up the discarded blanket, folding it up and placing it on the corner of the bed before moving closer to the man himself. Aaron-sama, it already 6 in morning. Rem called out. The pseudo-saber's only response was a particularly loud snore. Rem felt her lips curl down slightly. Aaron-sama, it is time to wake up. The blonde simply turned away from her, flaring his nostrils and snuggling deeper into the bed. Undeterred, Rem walked around the bed to face him again. Instead of calling out again, she took his hand and tried to shaking him. She was not surprised at how smooth and soft the skin was. She shook it again, entangling their fingers. Aaron-sama, you told me to wake you at 6, you have training to do. She tried a bit louder, again giving the man a firm shake. This seemed to get the desired results. The man started stirring in his sleep, slowly opening his eyes and turning a dazed look at her. "NGG." He grunted, his eyelids fluttering. "Angel. Are you cosplaying again?" Rem blinked, the knight seemed to still be half asleep, he mistook her for his sister. She was about to correct him when his free hand sneaked to her cheek, pinching her and eliciting a yelp. "And it is Rem from Re-Zero, Mom's going to angry with me if she caught you like this." He sighed. He didn't seem afraid of the prospect, rather he was content, happy. "Aya Warwin Swamwa." Rem yelped, taking hold of the hand pinching her. "Ruem what you are whittle was swistwer, Ruem is Ruem." She tried pry it away, even putting some of her strength into it, but the offending appendage would not be moved. His soft cheek continued to be maimed by the drowsy saber. After a bit of a struggle, her words did seem to finally elicit their intended effect. Aaron's dazed eyes slowly started to gain focus, finally taking note of who actually stood in front of him. Rem saw his eyes widen briefly, an indecipherable emotion crossing the green orbs. To her displeasure, they were gone as fast as they appeared and a second hand joined the first, pinching her other cheek as well. "Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!" To her relief, the pain only lasted for a while, as her cheeks were quickly released from his grip. Rem's hands immediately went to her cheeks, wincing as she touched the stinging red spots. She found the drowsy man's eyes on her, amusement clearly glimmering in them. "Sorry Rem, I just had to make sure I was not dreaming." Rem glared at him with ferocity, though her unshed tears greatly diminishing its effect. Shouldn't Aaron-sama pinch his own cheeks rather than Rem's? "No way, your cheeks are way softer than my own." Aaron denied, voice still groggy but clearly entertained. "Beside, where would the fun be in that?" He added as he slowly sat up, stretching his arms. Contrary to his normal looks, he felt like an old drunk right now. He tried crawling off the mattress, only to collapse on his stomach, burying his head in linen. Rem watched the man's awkward posture with a mixture of fascination and irritation. This is the man who has struck fear in her heart. Who made her feel small and insignificant? This harmless, empty-headed, undignified person is truly Aaron Pendragon. Ne-sama is right, Aaron-sama really does have two faces. Rem thought with a sigh as she moved to his side. He was clearly still far from awake. Still, part of her can't help but find his antics cute. He had an almost childlike quality to him. Who knew the elegant, mature-looking man had such a strange personality? She stared at the young man who kept repeatedly swinging his sword. His strikes were fast and relentless, like falling rain, yet still polished and clean in execution. Compared to only 2 days ago, she would not hesitate to say his improvements were massive. It was like watch a completely different swordsman. She did not know much about the way of the sword, it was not her art. But she did recognize the quality of his movements. The way he wielded his blade was, on a whole different level than 3 days ago, when he started his daily regimen. She saw the girl her bubby was contracted to sitting not far from the young knight. Watching him with an intense look, her eyes absorbing his every movement. If she didn't know better, she would say the silver-haired girl may be obsessed with him. But she's not. She recognized the girl's look. Bubby was right when he denied her love. Her eyes spoke of a different emotion. It was an expression of awe, inspiration, admiration. Just like herself, when she was still with her mistress. What would bring the girl to admire the boy this way? She doesn't know, and doesn't really care to either. She doesn't care for her, despite the contract she has formed with her precious friend. Just like her friend doesn't care to save anyone but his contractor. Still, she can't help to feel curious. As she kept watching, the boy stopped his training, his head tilting in her direction. Her eyes widened when their gazes met. He noticed her. How? While she was not really hidden, there was still quite the distance between them. For him to suddenly stop mid-swing, just when she started to focus on him more keenly and... He has good instincts, I suppose. She thought as she watched the boy wave his hand with a smile, causing her to scowl. I only chuckled as Beatrice closed her curtains the moment I started waving at her. I never thought I would get such a reaction from someone just by smiling at them. This truly was a fantasy world, all right. Sundaras and everything is exist in here. Aaron? Amelia called to me. What's wrong? Nothing, I just waved to Beatrice-san. She was watching us. I answered her. By the way, Emmy. The silver-haired half-elf blinked. Emmy? A nickname for you, if you don't mind. I don't mind. Amelia smiled, she seemed quite happy actually. Emmy it is, then. I chuckled, why do you keep watching me every morning when I practice? I asked. Hearing that Amelia's smile turned into a more troubled expression, am I bothering you? No, no. I shook my head negatively, I find your presence to be, refreshing actually. I said with a momentary pause. I did indeed find Amelia's presence enjoyable, I just want to know why. No particular reason. Amelia answered with slight hesitation, it's just. I usually have to wake up early to talk with the lesser spirits and dash. Ah, say no more. I cut her swiftly, raising a hand, you don't need to tell me anything if you feel uncomfortable, I said with a small shrug, it's not like I have problem with it. Like I said, I find your company to be refreshing. I do know at least part of the reason why she keeps watching me. Loneliness. I don't fully understand how she must have felt, but I do know what she went through. Amelia has practically no one she is close to, no friends save for Puck, who unfroze her. Elves were driven close to extinction by, what was her name? Pandaren? Pandora? Pandra? It doesn't matter, who I mean is the witch with the reality warping abilities. And Puck. He can only materialize for 8 hours a day, from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Only 8 hours, and he's the only one she could talk to. Due to her close resemblance to Satella, she can't approach anyone without being judged for her looks. I'm tempted to curse out anyone who would treat her that way. It has been 400 bleeding years. Almost half a millennia has passed since the Witch of Envy's reign. Why would they still keep hating her? No one even has a relative still alive who may have been harmed by Satella. I can understand the scorn Naruto had to endure. The Kyuubi's rampage was still a very fresh memory, not to mention the beast still living on in his belly. But Amelia? What did she ever do? Her only known connection to Satella are her looks and race. Even then, Satella is already as good as dead to the world. Humans, bah. Oblivious to my internal rant, Amelia smiled, looking very happy at my words, thank you Aaron. So here she is, talking to me. The only person who doesn't care about her race or status. The only one who doesn't treat her as a symbol, or pawn. Even if I do know I need her, and intend to use her to get home, I still must say Amelia is a good friend. I can't deny that. Aaron? I blinked as I broke out from my stupor. Looking down I see Amelia standing not too far from me, as matter of fact she was close. Not too close, but if she bends her body this way. White. GGH. I'm fine. I said, quickly turning away so she could not see me blush. God damn it woman. Have some common sense. Emmy, I do not mean to be rude but, next time please take a note of your appearance before moving. Amelia blinked, she tilted her head slightly before looking over her body, my did sleepwear not change? It's a fresh set, but still the same cut. She commented with small frown, is there something wrong? Your lack of common sense never ceases to amuse and torture me. I said with heavy sigh. Seriously, this girl, didn't she realize just how good she looked in first place? I don't want to hear anything about common sense from you. Amelia making point by poking my chest with her index finger, you have strange views about what's considered common. It not strange, it's realistic and necessary. True, but the way see it is so negative. She sighed while pinching the bridge of her nose, it's unhealthy to think like that. I only shrugged in response, I'm not an entirely negative person. I do have my moments, but I just think of it as being realistic. I can't afford to mess up in this world. Having my head clouded by emotions is only going to get me killed. Still, as I said, Amelia is a good friend. If she was born into my own world, we would probably be visiting the same college now. Maybe she would even be a guest at my house, I'm sure mother would love her. Even considering the short time we spent together, I can tell we would be close friends. Perhaps even. No, that is just a mere fantasy. I do not need such thoughts on my mind, getting home is my top priority. Beside, I do admit I'm attracted to her. She is hot, beautiful, and kind too. Only a moron would refuse her, if she ever made a move. But that doesn't mean I love her, it's more like, a physical attraction. The glimpse I caught a moment ago flashes before my eyes and I can feel myself turning red again. Damn it. Stupid hormones. Stupid nightgown. Aaron? You okay? Your face is kind of red. And Puck as well. I'm sure as hell he did not bother teaching Amelia anything about modesty, or to be more self-aware about her appearance. I'm starting to hate that damn cat too. Seriously Amelia, you are a pretty girl, you need to. I-love-you. I feel the blood in my veins freeze, a hollow sensation gripping my heart. My hand shoots to my chest, my lips feel as if they are touching a block of ice. I gag. Aaron? I can hear Amelia call out to me, but I can't seem to focus on her. It was very unpleasant and foreign sensation. I don't know what is happening but I feel. Aaron. Aaron. My body is shaking as I glanced up. I have fallen to my knees on the ground without even realizing it. Cold sweat was drenching my body. Amelia was at my side, her expression filled with concern and worry. Emmy? Aaron? Are you okay? She asked me with evident worry. What happened? I swallowed bile that threatening spill from my throat. Closing my eyes, I tried my best to dismiss the nausea I was feeling by shaking my head. I don't know. I rasped out. You don't know. Amelia was confused as well, however that seems not be the only thing worrying her. Are you okay? Are you hurt somewhere? You were standing just a moment ago, but suddenly. I don't know. I tried controlling my breathing as best as I could. I was fine moment ago, but then, suddenly I felt sick. Sick. Amelia sounded more concerned now. Let me check on you. She didn't give me chance to refuse, raising her hands to touch my head in an instant. I could feel a warm, pleasant sensation pressed to my forehead, flowing through my body. I can't find anything wrong with you. Amelia said after a moment of silence. Your gait seems fine, so does your body. I see. I murmured, taking a few deep calming breaths. You sure, Emmy? I don't know. I maybe can use the healing arts, but... Amelia bit her lips. I'm not nearly a master, I don't detect anything wrong with you and... It's fine then. I said as I allowed myself to relax on the ground. Perhaps I'm just exhausted from training. Aaron. Amelia faced a mixture of slight irritation and concern. Don't lie to me, we both know it must be more than that. Let it be said, while Amelia's may lack common sense, she is far from stupid. I don't know what you're talking about. I assure you I don't know what just happened. I replied, right now, that is the only explanation I have for you. I pushed myself to stand, stumbling slightly. She was there in flash, steadying me by the arm, helping me stand. Don't force yourself, Aaron. She said, still concerned. Yeah. I chuckled as I untangled myself from her. Thanks, Emmy, but I'm fine now. Are you? Really? No, not completely. I still feel sick, but not as badly as before. I said honestly. Do not fret, Emmy, perhaps a bath and breakfast will make me feel better. I shoot her the best look saying, I'm fine. I don't need her to worry about me. I don't have to worry about her, but I don't want Puck checking me out. That could quickly turn into a major problem. Cute as he may look, I know what beasts lurks beneath the seemingly innocent cat. The moment Amelia's dies, he will start killing everything, no matter how close you were to him. Subaru was once again a great example of this. Despite the good rapport he had with the spirit, he was still mercilessly cut down. Puck may not have a choice in the matter. His contract does state that he has to destroy the world should Amelia die, but he could have at least choose to spare the already broken Subaru, or at least save him for the last. It was true killing him at that point might have been a blessing, but that doesn't change that fact that it was still wrong. You sure, Aaron? Amelia asked again, her worried expression never changing. I'm sure. I'll retire early if you don't mind, Emmy. I want to take a bath to clear my mind. I need to figure out what has just happened to me. The sooner I do, the better. Aaron-sama, may I boldly ask what you have done to my sister? Aaron stared at her, face blank for a moment. You do realize you're not asking for permission, right? You instantly jump to the accusations. He dryly pointed out. Ah, as expected from Aaron-sama, he quick on to caught Ram's wise words. Ram said, shamelessly praising the man and herself at same time. I did not do anything to Rem. Aaron shrugged, swirling brown liquid inside his cup around. It was just few hours after breakfast and the boy was in mood for tea. To his surprise it was Ram and not Rem who served him. Let's just say, there was a moment between us yesterday. I'm also surprised she didn't seem burdened by my presence this morning. No shit, just remembering this morning's events is enough to make Aaron blush. To think Rem saw what a mess he was this morning. He really is not a morning person. Well, at least it wasn't Ram. God knows she would never let him live that down. Ram is disappointed. Her voice was blank. Did Aaron Sama's lust over Blue has get to the point dash. I did not molest her. Aaron snapped, eye twitching in irritation. Seriously, Ram, you should have a better opinion of me. I am, after all, a gentleman. Unlike this disrespectful underling, going around accusing guests of the manner. Ram's eye twitched, but her voice remained smooth. Forgive Ram then Aaron Sama, for speaking her mind. This one can't help her feelings, since Aaron Sama himself admitted to being two-faced. She did have a point there, but I refuse to back down. And what does that have to do with anything? I would never harm her. Aren't your accusations based only on your own fragmented mind? In response, Ram stared at him, long and hard. Rem's cheeks were red this morning. Fuck. Aaron instantly screamed inside his head. Points for today, Aaron, 0, Ram, 1. After all, this mansion has only one resident with an obsession for blue and soft, tender flesh. You make me sound like some hardcore sexual deviant. Aaron sighed and rubbed his temples. I'll have you know, what happened was an accident. The guilty one always say so. Knowing when he lost, he wisely decided to stay silent. Poor Rem's cheeks were rather red this morning, after all. At least it seems she didn't tell Ram about what actually happened. And while Ram admits Rem is adorable, please note that Rem is Ram's little sister. Please kindly don't take someone else's belongings, Aaron Sama. Double fuck. Aaron added internally. He did not even try to hide his facepalm. He should have known Rem would tell Ram about his little sister, or at least about this morning's events. I don't have any perverted or impure intentions toward Rem. You don't need worry, Ram. Is what the molester said to his victim. Ram said in a monotone, but the hint of glee and smug satisfaction in her eyes was visible. In response, Aaron only closed his eyes before chugging down his tea like it was beer. Aaron, 0, Ram, 2. Ram saw this, raising the teapot. Shall Ram refill your drink, Aaron Sama? She offered, usually dull voice turning sweet and polite, as if enjoying something pleasant. Yes. Aaron accepted while giving her his cup. Ram gladly took it and began pouring the drink. He contemplated a way to pay her back. There was no way he going to let her go like this. When he thought of something, his mouth unfortunately was faster than his brain. Are you jealous of Rem? Prang. Both cup and plate slipped from her grip, shattering on the floor. The look she gave him was of pure disbelief. It spelled, I don't believe you are stupid enough to ask me that. Despite its insulting nature, Aaron found it priceless. Aaron, 1, Ram, 2. And now for the finishing touch. You broke the pot and glass. He commented with a fake displeased voice. Such clumsy behavior is unfitting for a maid of Lord Rose's house. While her glare promised pain, she was momentarily unable to find a proper response to return fire. Aaron, 2, Ram, 2. That expression just make your face ugly, you know? Aaron continued to tease her as he relaxed deeper into his chair. If look could kill, he would have died a painful death. Nonetheless, she didn't say anything as she gathered up the broken dishes from the floor. Seeing this, Aaron closed his eyes and shook his head. He kneeled in front of Ram, helping her pick up the shards. I apologize, that was low even for me. He apologized sincerely, making the pink-haired maid blink. Let's just say I did not have the best morning today and it's still influencing me. He sighed aloud. He did not lie. After the incident in the backyard this morning, he tried his best to figure out what has happened to him. Digging into his memories, trying his best to find what he did in last few days and comparing it with the knowledge of Re-0 he still remembers. He did get some results. But as he expected, they were not pleasant. That passionate voice. That affectionate voice. That deranged voice. It came from a dream. He doesn't remember much about the dream itself. It was unclear and random, multiple visions badly stirred together. It was so abstract, he spent almost an hour just trying to remember it. It come from her. From that silver-haired half-elf woman. Despite the mist and smoke that clouding his memory, he still remembered that loving smile and those passionate eyes. Love going to the point where Aaron doubted the sanity of its owner. Only one person he know of would have such characteristics. Why the hell did I meet Satella? He shuddered as he recalled the half-elf's voice. Or was that the Witch of Envy? As far as he recalled, Satella was still sane, while the witch was anything but. Subaru met Satella or the Witch of Envy after he died. Not instantly, only after a few. But him? He did not even come close to dying yet. So how and why? Here. Aaron said as he placed one holy coin in Ram's tray. I'm sorry I caused you to break them, take that as payback. You can have more if it's not enough. Ram stared at the holy coin in her tray before turned to him. One more coin. May I ask for the details of the price? No. Aaron sighed and placed one more holy coin on the tray. There goes 538 SGD, used just to buy new teapots and cups. Then again, they did belong to Roswell, the most famous magician in Lugnica. Perhaps the price was indeed this high. And one more for the trip to the shop. You just trying to squeeze me dry, aren't you? He deadpanned. How in name of the root do you need one holy coin just to get to the capital? I'm sure the price is probably at most 1 gold or 10 silver. There's exchange fees. Ram said flatly. Fine. Aaron sighed aloud as he gave her one more holy coin. There goes 269 SGD, and he was thinking to save money just in case if he needed it. Ram stared at the money on her tray with her usual stoic expression before tilting her head. Ram is surprised. Aaron-sama really paid it. I don't know what impression you have of me, but I always take responsibility of my actions. Aaron replied with flat look. If I'm the one who caused it, then I won't run, no matter what. His father and mother taught him from a young age to always act responsibly. No matter what, always be responsible. True, he may bend a rule here and there, but he will always stand up for his actions. Ram sees. Aaron-sama does have some personality traits fitting a knight. Ram commented after a moment of silence. What can I say? Aaron chuckled with shrug. I am training to become one after all. Ram did not make any further comments, though her stare seemed to become more analytic than before. Sensing this, Aaron shook his head and leaned back in his seat. Rem might have already told you this, let me repeat it directly to you. I don't have any ill intentions towards you and REM. He said at ease. As matter of fact, I swear that I won't do any harm to you too. He truly meant that. He had no intention to hurt either of them. As long they did not try to make a move to him, like they did with Subaru, then they will be fine. Even though he doubted that Ram can do anything against him, with his magic resistance. Rem could still very well be dangerous to him. He was not a fan of having his head bashed in. Ram believes Aaron-sama. Aaron blinked, his face showing surprise. The unexpected response by the pink-haired Oni left him speechless. But that doesn't mean Aaron-sama still can't harm Ram or Rem. Ram spoke, voice stoic and blank. You're right, even if I swear that I won't harm you. I'm sure it could still happen, one way or another. Aaron replied after a moment of silence. It's just logical, people always promise to never harm their beloved, but in the end, they will do, they always do. We, humans are foolish creatures after all. He chuckled in a melancholic manner, but I can promise you this, Ram, I will never, ever harm you too for my own pleasure or satisfaction, unless you or someone else forced me to. Ram stared at him, long and hard. Aaron returned the gaze with equal intensity. Ram. We'll hold you to that promise, Aaron-sama. Ram said after a moment of silence. No, Ram will hold you to that oath. Please do so. Aaron replied in stoic voice, and remind me if I about to break it. Ram will. Time seemed to stop moving for a moment, as the knight and Oni stared at each other. Aaron-sama. Ram broke the ice, voice solemn and grave. Yes? Aaron inquired, eyes locked onto her with anticipation. Aaron-sama is good-looking. But this Ram's loyalty and heart belongs solely to Roswell-sama, so please stop trying to seduce Ram with that face. Ram. Yes, Aaron-sama. You win this round all right. Ram doesn't know what Aaron-sama is talking about. He would have bought her words, if not for the smug smirk on her face. Don't get too confident, I won on both previous days. I am still in the lead. This Ram doesn't know what Aaron-sama is talking about, but Ram can assure you that losing is not in her dictionary. Challenge accepted. We will see, Ram, we will see. Bring it on, woman. I see, so this land, and the village near us technically owned by Rose. Eren commented while rubbing his chin in a thoughtful manner. Yes. Rem nodded in confirmation. Although Roswell-sama is wealthy enough to afford more land, he chose to save his money for magical books or Mattia. Well, since he didn't need it in the first place, it's not so strange. Eren thought, his mind wandering to the clown mage. As he recalled, the man was obsessed with his master, Echidna the Witch of Greed. He was not interested in anything that won't help him free the sealed witch. Lugnica was ruled by over 100 different noble families, each governing over different-sized portions of land. While some of their territories were huge, others were surprisingly tiny. He supposed the lords of Lugnica were either not that greedy, or just too plain incompetent to care for a larger population. When he asked Rem about this, it turned out to actually be a mixture of both. Apparently some noble amassed so much land, he was not able to keep track of everything anymore. He overlooked to set up some important barriers, attracting a large pack of Mabiasts, or also known as demon beasts, that ravaged the whole area. Many people died in the resulting chaos. Others were too smart for their own good. They got wealthy too fast and turned to corruption. When their crimes became apparent, the royal guards tended to handle the situation. Let's just say those nobles are no longer among the living. Since then, many nobles did not try to get their hands on more land, choosing to rule over smaller portions, lest it become their downfall. In Eren's opinion, they saw Lugnica's bad condition, and recognized the kingdom's council would be keeping a closer eyes on everything. The kingdom's nobles would be stupid to try anything under their watchful gaze. Did you get everything so far, Eren-sama? Yes, Rem. Eren nodded as he leaned back in his seat, and once again, I learn a lot thanks to you. He gave small grin to the blue-haired maid. You're really good at this, aren't you? Rem doesn't think she did that great of a job. Eren-sama is just that smart, he easily caught everything Rem explained. You sell yourself short. Eren brushed the comment off easily. You are good at what you do, accept the praise, seriously. Rem did not say anything but gave a nod of appreciation to him. Eren stared at her before letting out small breath and smiled. You're that type, aren't you? He asked. The blue-haired Oni blinked. Pardon. Eren leaned towards the table, resting his head on his palm. A small lesson, Rem. Consider this as payback for being kind and willing to teach me. He said as he raised 2 fingers. Alright, let's get to the basics. Rem, in the world, no matter what, be it demi-human or human, there are 2 types of person. 2 types? Geniuses and those who work hard. Eren said, aware that Rem's fingers gave a brief twitch. He ignored it and continued. Geniuses, well, are just that. They are those who are blessed with talent. Where others struggle, they can easily perceive and complete any task given to them. And it does not just end there. They often end up growing beyond what anyone expects, exceeding every expectation. Rem's mind briefly wandered back to her childhood. Her big sister used to be hailed as a prodigy without equal, destined to surpass any expectation. Then on the other hand, there's hard workers. Eren allowed a smile to grace his lips while saying this. Those who are labeled as ordinary, can't do anything, not special, normal. To put it bluntly, they are the common people who you see every day. Compared to geniuses, their numbers are too overblown. They are often seen as burdens, holding back the prodigies. He noted how Rem's fingers twitched again, and this time he also saw her body stiffen slightly. However, Rem looked up when the man paused, her eyes focused on the handsome blonde smile. Those are the best people to exist. Huh? Rem blinked, confusion evident on her face. Rem does not understand. What does Eren-sama? The geniuses are, in a word, perfect. But tell me, who do you find more appealing? Someone who honestly works for his achievements, or somebody who just effortlessly succeeds at anything he touches? Rem was silent for a moment. The answer was obviously the second. No matter what, it was clear to her the second option resulted the best and most efficient outcome. So she gave him her answer, the second. Eren's smile never changed, still plastered on there. He was expecting Rem to give such answer. Rose is important to you, correct? So is Ram. Yes. Rem's answer was instant, clean and firm. As if it was a mantra carved to her very soul the moment she was born. Then ask both of them that question. Eren replied, tomorrow morning, ask both of them, and the next night, tell me your opinion about their answer. Rem doesn't understand what Eren-sama is trying to do here. Rem's eyes narrowed in suspicion, but Rem will do so. Eren's smile turned to grin at that. Good. You do that. Rem nodded to him. Is there anything else, Eren-sama? I want to go to village tomorrow, he said, making the girl blink. I'm bored in here, it has been 3 days. Besides, I never go out to the village. Rem pursed her lips at that, contemplating her decision. Rem will inform Roswell-sama about this. Rem plans to go to the village tomorrow to resupply. Good. Then can you wake me a bit later tomorrow? I want to rest for the trip, he said, and please inform Emi that I won't be training tomorrow if you happen to see her. Yes, Eren-sama. Rem replied with a bow. Then, Rem shall excuse herself. With that the maid exited the room, leaving Eren alone. He turned to stare at the moon and stars shining down on the world. Tomorrow is the day. Let's see how things play out. Alright everyone, straighten your backs, hold firmly onto your sticks, and follow me. HYH. HYH. Rem stared with mixture of fascination and uncertainty at the scene in front of her. The villagers, mostly the children and the teenagers, there were even some older men and women, all swinging sticks and wooden swords like a soldiers in training. And in front of them, the one that responsible for the ruckus, was none other than the man who was supposed to accompany her. Good cry. He praised. However, some of you still don't move like you are supposed to. Come on, try again. This is for your own health and well-being. He yelled to them, swing with me. He raised the wooden sword and swung it down perfectly. HYAH. HYH. Good. Come on. 10 more swings like that. HYH. HYH. Rem did not expect to see anything like this when she returned from her shopping. When they entered the village for the first time, the man seemed fascinated by it. While he was busy looking around, he made no attempt to talk to anyone, and the villagers seemed hesitant to approach him. It clearly was because he was clad in his armor instead of his usual black coat and red shirt. Rem herself must admit that Eren looked very elegant in his armor. The way he walked, and the way he schooled his facial features, it clearly screamed of royalty. He was almost like a king, making others hesitant to approach him. Not in bad way of course, rather in good way. She left him alone for barely 40 minutes, buying food and other necessities. How did he manage to gather and coordinate this many people, strangers at that, in such a short period of time? Eren-sama, look. Look. I left a mark on this piece of lumber. Who? Pretty impressive, swing Luca. I have experience helping my dad. He is the best lumberjack in the whole village. I see, keep doing this and I'm sure you will reach his skill soon. Of course, Eren-sama. The boy, Luca, seems so happy by the praise given from the charming blonde. Eren-sama, I designed these clothes. This is quite the exquisite design. A bit crude, but you sure have talent. Really? I made this for you. I'm sure it will look good. Huh? But I'm male Petra, this is a dress. Eren-sama is handsome and cool. But I think Eren-sama will be pretty in a dress too. I see. I appreciate the compliment. It wasn't hard for Rem to see that the girls, children as well as teenagers, were charmed instantly by his good looks. And Eren himself seems to be quite content with their presence. It feels refreshing to move around like that. An old woman commented while the sweat from her forehead. Indeed, it's been a while since I moved these old bones with such force. An old man close to her replied with a smile, it's tiring, but somehow I feel refreshed and happy. Sport and exercise is healthy. Eren said with a lecturing look. Shouting out loud also raises your spirit. Even if you're old, but that doesn't change the fact you still more than capable of taking care of yourself. True. Very wise words from someone at your age, Eren-kun. The old man praised with a smile. Wise, good-looking, charming, gentle and good with children. If only I were 30 years younger. The old woman let out a dreamy sigh while holding her cheek. I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 rides with you. The obvious flirting caused the blonde cringe, however outside he showed a different reaction. His lips twitched a bit, small smile marred his face. You flatter me, Pomona Bazin. He replied smoothly, perhaps too smoothly. But on his defense, the mental image conjured by his mind is not pretty, very far away from it. I'm sure if you were 30 years younger you would be a sight to behold. He not lying about that part. Even if she was old, the frame of her face still looked smooth and young. For an old woman already over 70 she looked very healthy. Perhaps the mana filling this world has some influence on their bodies. Everyone can be a magician if they wish, even if they won't be good at it. Thanks to the gate residing in everyone's body, they would at least be able to cast some kind of spells. It was similar to magic circuits in a way. This may not be the age of gods, but it close to one. The reason it is not called that way is perhaps because of a lack of gods. Though that doesn't change this old woman's personality. Aaron will never able to look at any innocent old granny the same way anymore. The children and teenagers look up to him, while the elders respect and consider him as someone with a bright future. In only 40 minutes, these people that were basically strangers to him, now seemed as if he had known them for a long time. Rem must admit. Aaron Pendragon was truly a person with charisma. Had she not smelt the witch scent on him, she could imagine herself to be part of these people. More proof that he was dangerous. Charming, sharp and smart. Rem was sure, if Aaron Pendragon wanted to he could easily take this place over and have himself placed as the unofficial head of this village. Such a terrifying though, and it was already unfolding in front of her right at this moment. And yet, Rem found herself doubting Aaron Pendragon with something like that. Not with the way he was smiling and talking to everyone. His face was genuine, pure, the air of curiosity emitting from him was also real. Rem knew that this could all be an act he put up, a facade. And she would have been sure of it, had she not only 2 days ago seen how painful it was for him to be separated from his little sister. Every idiot would be able to see just how he wished to see her again. How he loved her, and how vulnerable he was in that state. Aaron Pendragon may not a saint, not as good a person as he looked to be, but he is undoubtedly not a bad person. Looking at him now, laughing with the elderly and playing with children, she won't doubt her judgment about him. "Oh, you're done, Rem?" he asked as he finally notices her presence. "Yes, sorry for making you wait, Aaron-sama." She apologized. "Not really, it is fine." Aaron replied kindly, "I did enjoy the free time I had while you were shopping." Rem can see that. Rem's gaze was drawn to the group of children gathering behind him. "Ah, it is Rem-sama." Luca chirped happily. "Hello, Rem-sama." Petra greeted too. "Hello to you all." Rem greeted all of them with a kind voice. "Well, I guess since Rem is here now, I will take my leave." Aaron said with a small smile. "Eh? You leaving so soon?" Petra looked very disappointed judging by her sad face. "Aaron-sama should stay longer." Luca said with a pout. Sorry, as much I want to stay longer, I can't." Aaron replied sounding quite regretful, "I am here to accompany Rem in her shopping and I also have my own schedule to attend." He explained to the whining children, "Besides, it's already close to night, how about I visit tomorrow again?" He offered. He turned to Rem after saying that is fine, right? Roswell-sama said Aaron is a guest and resident of the manor. Aaron-sama is free to do however he likes. Rem informed, making the young man's smile brighten. "Hear that? I will come back tomorrow." "Promise?" Petra asked with large and shimmering eyes. Yes, I promise." Aaron promised while raising one hand as a gesture. "A knight's promise is absolute, I will visit again tomorrow." With that the duo parted from the children. Aaron said goodbye to the elders and others he chatted with before leaving. Rem was waiting for him, carrying a barrel and some bags. "Those are quite the supplies you bought." Aaron commented as he saw them. "How long does this last?" 2 weeks. "I see, let me help you then." Aaron picked up the barrel and tossed it onto his shoulder as if it weighed nothing. "That's not necessary, Aaron-sama, Rem can handle it on her own." Rem said as she glanced at the barrel. "I know, lugging around this amount stuff by yourself must be troublesome." Aaron replied, patting the barrel. Judging by how it felt when he lifted the thing, it must be packed full. And yet for him it was just like lifting a plastic bag. This heroic spirit's strength never ceases to amaze him. "It's okay if I want to help, right?" "Of course, Aaron-sama." Rem nodded in acceptance. She could see the logic behind his words. The maid Oni and the pseudo-saber walked together in silence, only the sounds of the breezing wind and forest animals to accompany them. The distance between the village and the manor was not too far, roughly around 20 to 30 minutes by foot. "I didn't saw that girl with the braids, Meili." Aaron frowned inwardly. How could this be? As far he recalled, that girl approached Subaru and then got him bitten by the demon beast. She insisted on showing the puppy to him, even when Subaru refused. So why? Why she was nowhere to be seen? Did he visit the village earlier than supposed? Highly possible, that is why he made the promise to come back tomorrow after all. He intended to check the village for the beast tamer once more, and come up with a plan to deal with her. Did Eren-sama enjoy the trip? Rem asked. The silence between suddenly got broken by the maid. Eren glanced at Rem, surprised that she started a conversation. Nonetheless he answered her, I did, while there were a few troubling fellows. His mind drifted to group of people that adored Rem and Ram, then back to the flirting old woman, but meeting the children and people there was quite refreshing. The village itself a sight to behold actually. From the design, to the landscape, the structure of the buildings, and the way they put everything together. It was interesting and unique. He had seen some villages and similar small places when he visited Indonesia, but the pattern and the designs were vastly different. Eren preferred the villages in this world over those in his own. Rem sees. Rem nodded in confirmation. How about you? Eren asked back, you and Ram seem quite popular in the village, but you barely said a word to them. It's because Rem and Ne-sama usually visit the village to buy supplies for the manor. But other than that Rem and Ne-sama have no business with the village. In other words, they only know them because Rem and Ram are working as maids in Roswell's manor, the one who is responsible for the area and land around here. The relationship is strictly business, they are mere acquaintances. Eren concluded this as he nodded. I see, so did anything interesting happen? He asked. Rem tilted her head in slight confusion, what does Eren-sama mean? I mean, are there any news or interesting events? In last few days I pretty much isolated myself in the manor. I'm blind to the world, it's all getting a bit boring so. Makes sense, Rem thought, nothing special happened. I see, what a shame. Eren sighed in disappointment. Rem was sure the man was sulking. Welcome back, Rem, Eren-sama. Ram greeted the duo. Rem is back Ne-sama. Hello to you too Ram. Both of them greeted the pink-haired maid, Rem bowed slightly while Eren grinned and waved his hand. Ram sees Eren-sama behaved in a proper manner. Ram said as she took note of Beryl on his shoulder. Of course, I am gentleman. I will gladly help a lady like Aryem. Eren replied in a smug tone. So Eren-sama indeed can be trained. Of course I can, I am someone who can learn and adapt easily. Eren smoothly blocked the insult, unlike a certain someone who keeps acting improper and making mistakes. He sniffed disdainfully. What a brutish barbarian this person is. The twitch in Ram's eye was not missed by Eren. The blonde had to hold back the grin that threatened to split his face. Rem believes that person does not need to behave work on her manners because she is already too great. Rem chimed in, why would she behave in front of those who can't understand her greatness? Rem speaks truly. Ram agreed in an instant, why should she show proper demeanor to someone improper? Isn't it only going to waste her time? So if a king stands in front of beggar he should behave like brute? Eren shoot back quickly with smirk, regardless of how it is, someone who is proper should behave like one when in front of anyone. It doesn't wasting time since it would show anyone who is better one. He tilted his head and gave a victorious grin, like me, I suppose. The man gladly accepted the twin glares. Pink and blue joined together and clashed against forest green, invisible sparks dancing between them. The glaring contest was broken by Ram who turned to her sister, by the way Rem, Roswell-sama said he had business to attend to, so he left the manor in our care. She informed as she took some of bags from Rem. Rem understands. Rem nodded, then, Rem shall be preparing dinner. She turned to Eren, Eren-sama should prepare for dinner as well. Please allow Rem to take that to kitchen. She said, gesturing to the barrel he still held. Sure, here. Eren handed the barrel to Rem who easily took it. As their distance closed, the blonde's sharp eyes caught something amiss with Rem's sleeve. He grabbed her wrist, gently raising it, excuse me for a moment. Eren-sama. Rem was surprised by the sudden movement. Eren-sama, please unhand my sister. Ram commented with a dirty look. However the pseudo-saber did not reply, intently checking the fabric of Rem's sleeve. His eyes caught a brown spot located on the black fabric, you're bleeding. Ram perked up in an instant, her lax demeanor gone. She also took step forward, checking her sister who appeared to be troubled at the sudden attention. Ah. This came from a small dog that bit Rem in the village. Rem said and she folded her sleeve up, revealing only smooth and clean skin around here, but Rem already healed it with magic. Ram looked relieved, her shoulders sagging slightly. It must be because you smell like Eren-sama, you clearly are spending too much time with him, she said, sending look to Eren, waiting for his response. To her surprise, instead of sending back a snide remark, the knight was uncommonly serious. "Rem, did the puppy have bald spot on its head?" he asked, voice solemn and serious. Rem blinked in surprise. "Yes, how did Eren-sama know?" Eren's eyes narrowed further. There was no trace of his usually gentle expression. It reminded them that this person in front of them was someone even their master was wary of. "Rem, come with me, we're going to visit Beatrice-san," he said. "No," ordered. He ordered the maid before turning toward the stairs. Rem didn't know why she found herself obeying. Maybe part of her was still afraid of him. Ram followed close by, feeling similar to her little sister. "Eren-sama, Beatrice-sama currently doesn't want to be disturbed," Ram said in a formal voice. "You won't be able to find her unless you open every door in the manor. Do not worry, Beatrice-san approves of my presence." Eren sounded sure of himself, and truly, the first door he opened revealed the library and its surprised caretaker. "How did you cross the barrier again?" Beatrice found herself quickly becoming irritated by the man's presence. "Truthfully, I still don't know about that," Eren answered with small smile, ignoring the shocked look the maids were giving him. His face turned serious. "Beatrice-san, I have a request, could you check Rem's arm?" Beatrice's eyes narrowed, her face still scrunched up in irritation. What an odd request, however she could easily read the tense atmosphere around them. "I could, I suppose," she said as she turned to the Oni. "Show me your arm, I suppose," she demanded. Rem tentatively extended her hand to the blonde spirit. "Oh. You're cursed." "What?" Ram and Rem chorused with shocked faces. Eren in the meanwhile only stared at Rem with a grim face. He already expected that from the beginning. This curse. This is a bit complex. Not too hard for me to break, I suppose. But it's still troublesome, Beatrice commented as she observed the curse. "You already healed the wound by yourself, I suppose?" "Yes." Rem gave a shaky nod to the librarian. "Rem already healed the wound, but..." She bit her lip. "Rem did not detect a curse at all." "Of course you didn't, you're not that proficient." Beatrice scoffed. "This curse, while easy enough break, is hard to detect. It was created to be as unnoticeable as possible. Only those who delve into the healing art seriously can detect this curse, I suppose," she explained. This explains why Rem still died in one of the loops. She was unable to even detect the curse. Eren realized as he recalled the episode where Rem died and Subaru got blamed for it. That was clearly one of the worst things Subaru had experienced, especially when he looked so hopeful after seeing the sunrise of the 5th day. Beatrice was still observing the Oni's arm, when she suddenly grunted and placed her hand over the spot where Rem was bitten. When she peeled her hand back, she was holding a wispy orb, as dark as the abyss. It seemed to be made up mostly of smoke, but the librarian still had a solid grasp on it. "What a nasty piece of work, I suppose," she grumbled. "That curse." Ram finally found her voice again. "What would it have done to Rem, Beatrice-sama?" Beatrice spared her a small look before she turned her attention back. "The foulness in her grip. This curse severely weakens the victim's body. Once it activates, it causes their organs to shut down, until they cease functioning," she explained. "It's lethal. From the moment it activates, it will work very fast. I doubt she would survive long enough to bring her to me if it did, I suppose." With a flick of her wrist she crushed the curse out of existence. Rem and Ram paled upon hearing that. Ram looked especially horrified with how close she came to losing her sibling. "I'm surprised you were able to detect it, I suppose," Beatrice commented as she gazed at Eren. "You brought her directly to me to get checked." "Truthfully, I didn't know." Eren already had his answers ready. This was one of the scenarios he prepared for. "I did not know Rem got cursed, but I did have my suspicions." He turned to Rem. "When you mentioned the bald puppy," he informed, "while you were gone, I had a talk with some of the village's elder. They mentioned they rarely had pets, other than livestock and guard dogs at least. However, one day one of the girls turned up with a bald puppy no one had ever seen before." He crossed his arms and makes a face. "Then you, some from Rose's manor, someone who hosts a royal candidate, get bitten by just that puppy, during your only trip to the village in weeks. Coincidence?" I don't think so. The expressions on the others' faces showed they believed him. Their faces thoughtful and resigned. Well, you do have a good head on your shoulders after all, I suppose. Thank you, Beatrice-san. Now. Eren straightened himself and turned around, walking towards the exit. Where is Eren-sama going? Ram asked of the blonde. The pseudo-saber paused, only one step out the door, where else? He asked rhetorically as he turned around. The trio could see his stony expression. His green eyes seemed to glow with power. The village. You're going to kill that beast, I suppose. Beatrice stated aloud. I am. Eren answered, can't have that thing wandering around the children. He said firmly. While it would have been troubling if some of the adults died, Eren was sure he would have gotten over it fairly quickly. The children, on the other hand. That was something else. It is dangerous. Rem found herself saying, not even realizing how concerned Face looked. If the beast can cast a curse like that, it's not an ordinary beast, it probably has a pack with it too. So. Eren quirked an eyebrow, I have faced larger threats in the past. I'm not going to be scared by some mutts. He declared, besides, I can't have Petra and the others get caught up in this mess. Especially after it tried to kill you. Rem blinked in surprise at the last part. Ram found herself mimicking her sister. You're my friend. I won't let someone hurt you without giving them refund. Eren said with a serious look, I will be going now. Ram will come with you. Ram said aloud while stepping forward. Ne-sama. Rem shooting her a shocked look. Ram can't let someone who almost took her Rem away from her go unpunished. Ram declared in coldly, she wants to see that beast die in front of her. Normally she would choose to stay in the mansion. However, the moment this thing dared targeting her sister, things got personal. There was no way she would let an attempt on Rem's life go unpunished. Are you sure? Eren asked, didn't Rose leave you in charge of the mansion? Rem can handle this place better than Ram. Ram answered with a determined face. Ne-sama. You can't. Rem was horrified. Ne-sama, Rem knows Ne-sama can handle herself, but isn't it better if Rem is the one to go with Eren-sama? She wanted to say more, but couldn't find it in her. Ram turned to her, the pink-haired Oni could see the fear and worry on her sister's face. I will be fine, Rem. Like you said, I can handle myself just fine. She declared with a reassuring voice, despite her face show none of it. Besides. She turned to Eren. Eren-sama is there. Despite his sharp tongue and improper behavior, Eren-sama is a competent person. Hello Pot, this is Kettle, you are black. Eren deadpanned, making the pink-haired girl glare at him. He chuckled to lighten the tense atmosphere. Ram is right, don't worry Rem. I will protect her in case things get out from control. He declared. Rem stared at the man she secretly hated for the last few days. Her eyes were filled with uncertainty as she glanced to her sister at his side. Trust me. Rem's eyes were drawn to the armored knight. His eyes were glowing with power, his handsome face set into a serious expression. He stood tall and proud, like a king. There was no hesitation in his voice, only determination. Rem. Rem felt her lips dry at the picture he gave. She closed her eyes, took a steadying breath, and opened them again, giving them the most radiant smile she could muster. Rem will keep Ne-sama's and Eren-sama's dinner warm. She will do her best, so please return safely. Eren's lips twitched, a smile crossing his face, and he nodded. Eren will expect no less from Rem. He declared before he turned to Ram, let's go, Ram. Ram give him a firm nod, face also set to a determined expression, yes, Eren-sama. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.
I'm really just here to visit.